Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, quarter till 11 on November the 6th, 2025. Let's get right to it because it is late and I was just busy throughout the day, just didn't get around to it. And by the time I had to leave, I did not have this done. So it's almost 11. And you guys got that sleep time. It's a school night. Nancy Pelosi won't seek re-election, ending her storied career in these United States House of Representatives. If you know anything about the House of Representatives, that's idiocracy. But we'll get into the sandwich guy. Oh, I forgot. I should have put him as my saint of the week. Sandwich guy got exonerated. Here is Tennessee. If you're Governor Bill Lee, if you're from New York, if you're a New York business owner who doesn't like the direction your city is headed, we have a message for you. Tennessee is open for business. Dr. Ben Braddock says, Tennessee, take it from Virginia. The last thing you want is mass Yankee migration. Not only will they dilute your political power, they will destroy your culture. That's what happened in the Raleigh area, the Triangle. Massachusetts people came down. Charleston, South Carolina got like that. Folly Beach used to be, quote unquote, a libertarian city. You can't do anything down in that area now. Yeah. There's another solution that we'll get to in a little bit. But again, everyone's losing their minds over the Mandemi thing. Prince William at the COP30 climate summit, quote, the melting of the polar ice, the loss of the Amazon, the disruption of ocean currents. These are not distant threats. They are fast approaching and will affect every one of us, no matter where we live. And the problem is the ice caps were not melting. They actually gained more ice. We played it a month ago, the massive record ice in Antarctica, the loss of the Amazon, which is funny because these people literally cut down trees to get for people to park. Yeah, because elites are so concerned about the Amazon rainforest. A new 4-lane highway cutting through tens of thousands of acres of protected Amazon rainforest is being built for the COP30 climate summit in Brazil. Yeah. They care about that. There's Arctic sea ice soars to highest level for 21 years. Vivek was total grift. Amazon forest failed to build road for a climate summit. Yeah, just remember when they all do something like that these guys are full of their own stuff. They flew in private jets. They destroyed the Amazon just to drive to there to tell everybody how you shouldn't be driving a car or eating meat or you should be eating the bugs. State Senator invites some Maryland and Virginia counties to join West by God, Virginia. Washington State Senator Chris Rose introduced a resolution on Thursday inviting 30 counties in Virginia and Maryland to join his state. In a release, Rose posted on Fedbook. Let me see if I'll go ahead and push that up, see if I can get it. Let's see. The resolution highlights historic precedent set by West by God, Virginia's formation in 1863 when Abraham Lincoln decided to make us secede from Virginia. When counties separated from Virginia amid national division, forced, it invites the Virginia counties of Allegheny, Augusta, where you see the list. Senator Rose emphasized the move could address residents' concerns over policies in their current states that may not align with local priorities, such as gun rights, economic development, and rural representation. What an appeal to heaven. Anyways, let's go back to it. Let's see. Meanwhile, Governor Westmore launched a redistricting advisory commission earlier that day, saying the goal is to ensure his state has fair and representative maps. These areas share geographic, economical, cultural, and historical connections with West by God, Virginia, including the strong Appalachian heritage, rural lifestyles, and a focus on individual liberties. Such a move by the Virginia and Maryland counties would require approval from both state legislators and Congress, which Rose's resolution acknowledges. The state senators released ads that copies of the resolution will be sent to Youngkin, Moore, and the legislative leaders of both states, as well as 30 state county commissions and West Virginia's congressional delegation. I like it, but I mean, they shouldn't get off the Titanic to get a state, just move a different level into Titanic, just get off the Titanic. But good nonetheless. Here is a misery map for everybody traveling. It's flightaware.com/misery map. And it shows all the delays and cancellations that go on in the air right now because of the FAA problems. Speaking of problems, Trump says grocery prices are way down. Apparently, he lives in a fairy tale because anybody with 2 working brain cells or that just lives knows he's full of it. As Thomas Massey says, grocery prices are not way down. The only way to reverse inflation is to quit spending more money than we bring in, which means we must cut spending. The big, beautiful bill increased spending. Again, everybody's a centralist. We'll get into more of that later. Once a future king, President DJT stuns America by saying if the Supreme Court takes down his tariffs, the American people will have to pay back trillions. Quote, we're taking in trillions. European Union, 950 billion. Japan, 650 billion. South Korea, 350 billion. Do the right thing. Tariffs ruling could be catastrophic. Here is 50 Cent. Just revealed he escaped New York after Zohan Mandemi won the mayor election. Here's another one from Escape from New York. Real estate agents getting flooded with calls whose jobs will be moving people from New York to Florida. They're calling it the Mandemi migration. Businesses are holding off on investments and walking away from deals. The ultimate, I'm not going to spell that out, but. And meanwhile, in Florida, here's an invasion of Israelis or Zionists, whatever you want to call them. Here's Secretary Noem putting up a video. It's celebrate good times. Wahoo! Celebrating 1.6 million self-deportations. Use CBP Home to get the free flight home, $1,000 exit bonus, and preserve potential opportunity to return the right way. This is all praising the app that they have right here. Mr. When will Father should be on? I don't know if I can get. I can ask. I don't. This isn't his cup of tea. We talk about politics behind our closed doors, but I don't know if. I don't know if Clown Planet would be one of his things. Sorry. RoboTaxis runs over and kills popular cat that greeted people in a corner shop. Yes, you read that right. Exactly. That's why it's Clown Planet, because of clownish shows or news like this. KitKat, the beloved pet cat at Rhonda's Market, was ran over by an automated car on October 27th. This was San Francisco. He was rushed to a hospital by a bartender working nearby, but was pronounced dead. KitKat's death was sparked with a heavy outpouring of fury and sadness by those who loved him, and questions about dangers posed by self-driving cars. I can't read the rest of this before I start laughing. This is not The Onion. This is a real story. I mean, animals get hit by cars all the time, and apparently they're going to make a statue of KitKat, put it next to George Floyd, I guess. I don't know. Border Patrol agent who shot Chicago woman boasted about it in text messages. Shocking moment. We had a medical emergency in the office. You'll see him fall down here, I guess, in a second. Man collapses just yards from Trump in Oval Office during live-streamed Ozempic announcement. Top drug makers nationwide came to the conference to discuss coverage and a reduction in cost for weight loss medication. Maybe he just didn't eat. maybe took a jibbity jab that finally took him down, or so. I don't know. But is it going to show it here in a second? Yeah. So while he's talking, used to see that quite often. Over a couple years ago was something else that used to be taken care of a lot, and nothing to see here. Move along. Nothing to see here. Please disperse. Here's Trump is proud to announce steep discounts on Ozempic from the Oval Office. And don't worry, we got more on that. The president announced Medicare copays for weight loss drugs will plummet from $1,350 to just $50. That's because gotta love government mandates, government medicine, government insurance, government in medicine. Wait, I thought that Mandemi was the only communist in the history of these United States. Only socialist besides Bernie Sanders? No, they're all socialists. They're all doing stuff like this. They're all government healthcare, government motors, the Fed, income tax. We'll get into that here in the way. Big Food's fight against Kennedy is heating up. A new industry group wants to set aside the piecemeal state-by-state approach, imposing food dye and labeling laws in favor of federal control. The opposition has rolled a Maha coalition. Jury acquits. If it don't fit, you must acquit. Jury acquits D.C. sandwich guy charged with chucking a sub at a federal agent. Don't think that's just the subway guy. The subway guy, sandwich guy, chucking a sub at an agent. You can't make some of the stories up. And then artwork depicting the former DOJ employee Sean Charles Dunn, displayed on a restaurant wall, has been immortalized for chucking a subway. Household debt hits record $18.6 trillion with a T as delinquencies remain elevated. Debt balances continue to rise, but delinquencies remain relatively stable. Younger borrowers, 18 to 29, are struggling the most with late payments, and student loan balances rose to a record $1.65 trillion. Yeah, that's good. I said, if you think the economy is doing great, there you go. Builders are offering mortgage rate discounts, but home buyers aren't buying. New homes are sitting unsold despite builders using sweeteners to shift inventory. There are people who are doing that from Florida all the way up. This says even in Missouri. Is this saying in St. Louis here? Yeah, D.R. Horton was a major one. Like I said, if you watch any of the programs that from Reventure app channel, they talk about the D.R. Horton all the time. Lennar, they've been ahead of this for months, and Wall Street Journal's just catching up, I guess. But yeah, they're like some homes in Florida, they're giving like 1% APR or sign on. If instead of interest rates of 6 or 7, whatever it is now, they're doing like 1. Anything they can get people to buy a home. They're throwing homes together left and right. Boone says ending filibuster not happening despite Trump's demand. Schumer and Jeffries are calling for a meeting with Trump and the GOP to negotiate. Trump pushes GOP to end filibuster amid government shutdown. Jay O'Brien reports the late. Okay, whatever. Trump made yet another call for Senate Republicans, to overturn the filibuster. Majority Leader John Thune reiterated his view that there are not the necessary votes among Senate Republicans to change the Senate rules. Trump threatens to go in Nigeria, guns ablazing. 47 says he's instructed the Pentagon to prepare for possible action against Islamists. If we attack it, it will be fast, vicious, and sweet. Senator Tommy Tuberville says, you bet he would support sending troops to Nigeria. Quote, we cannot allow this to happen to people who cannot defend themselves. I mean, we can blow up boats in the Caribbean, though, just because there's oil there. But, I mean, I get it. As long, again, they got to do it legally. They got to go through Congress, get the vote, and then go. They can't just reject it just because we want to do it. But, again, maybe they'll go over and help out. I don't trust them for anything. U.S. troops picture training in dense Puerto Rico forest as Venezuela invasion fears grow. Donald Trump is preparing for an imminent invasion of Venezuela. Experts say after the Marines posted photos of operations in dense Puerto Rican forests. Was one for a couple. There's some images storming the beach and operating tanks in training exercises. Here's Dave DeCamp talking about anti-war posted. He runs anti-war. Senate expected to vote on Thursday today to block Trump from starting a war with Venezuela. Contact your senator. DeCamp says the vote is expected at 5 p.m. tomorrow. So, today. It's supposed to be 5 p.m. today. Please contact your senators and tell them to support the War Powers Resolution and prevent a war in Venezuela. I will remind you people tomorrow morning. Link in reply. Let me see any update at anti-war. Senate defeats measure to block Venezuelan war. Okay, Trump repeats blatantly false claim on boat bombing campaign. Israel violating Gaza deal by limiting food. Israeli army settlers strike 2,350 times in West Bank last month alone. Israel massively escalates strike on Lebanon. U.S. to establish military bases in Damascus. U.S. military draws up Nigerian war plans. Somalia defense minister confirms flights from Puntland to Sudan. Russia mulls full-scale nuclear weapons test. Here's Trump administration tells Congress it currently lacks legal justification to strike Venezuela. Well, at least they're honest. First time in a while they said that, something like that. Yeah, of course they lack legal justification. Also, water is wet. Israeli jets strike southern Lebanon towns, escalating near daily attacks. You can see this online. There's some photos of the explosions going on. It's quite brutal what's going on over there right now. Russia close to its biggest capture of a Ukrainian city since 2023. The Kremlin is focusing its fire on Pavrovsk, a gateway to the Donetsk region, which Russia's President Vladimir Putin has long coveted. And just for people that are, here's the little reminder that Trump is meeting with the Syrian Al-Qaeda affiliate to the United States in a couple of weeks because, toxic cowboys. When you vote tomorrow, remember 9/11. And Lindsey Neal goes, Trump, who endorsed Cuomo, just invited the founder of the Syrian Al-Qaeda affiliate to the United States. So when people are like, oh, we got it. New York City, in New York City, the place where no one's going to be visiting anytime soon, before or after, who cares? Has a socialist, Democrat, communist, whatever you want to call him, and people act like he's the only one that does it. That is it. Poor kitty, I get it. Yeah, it's just sorry. It's just the way people are acting on the humorous part. The cats get ran over all the time, but we're going to have this. We're going to put a monument out for the cat. I mean, I'm not a fan of Waymo above everybody else, but it should make big news. The 10 planks of the Communist Manifesto. Here's a link that this group put together. If you ever want it, I'll put it in the chat. If in case someone that says, hey, we're not a communist group. Our government is not communist. Mandemi is the first communist ever to come up. Number one, abolition of private property and the land and application of all rents of land to public purpose. The courts have interpreted the 14th Miracle Amendment of the U.S. Constitution to give the government far more eminent domain power than was originally intended. Number two, a heavy progressive for graduate income tax. I think you know what that means. The 16th Amendment, perfect example. Abolition of all rights of inheritance. Another Marxian attack on private property rights is the form of federal and state estate tax and other inheritance taxes which have abolished or at least greatly diluted the right to private property owners. And you can read the rest. Confiscation of all property of all immigrants and rebels. We call it government seizures, tax liens, forfeiture, public law 99-578 is 570 back in 1986. Reagan, Executive Order 11490. You see what it is. which gives private land to the Department of Urban Development. The imprisonment of terrorists, or whoever they say is a terrorist. Number 5, centralization of credit in the hands of the state by means of a national bank with state capital and an exclusive monopoly. You ever heard of the Fed? Now, centralization of the means of communication and transportation in the hands of the state. The FCC. The FCC won't bother me. The FCC, the FAA, the Department of Transportation, you name it. We got all that. Check. Another check. Extension of factories and instruments of production owned by the state and bringing into cultivation of wastelands and the improvement of the soil generally in accordance with the common plan. Quote, as they say, while the U.S. does not have a vast collective farms, we nevertheless do have a significant degree of government involvement in agriculture. You see that daily. Equal obligation of all to work, establishment of industrial armies, especially for agriculture. We call it the Social Security Administration and the Department of Labor. Combination of agriculture with manufacturing industries, gradual abolition of the distinction between town and country, county or country, with by a more equitable distribution of the population over the country. We call it the Planning Reorganization Act of 1949. And number 10, rounding off the top 10 list, or the only 10 list, but number 10, free education for all children in government schools. Abolition of children's factory labor in its present form. Combination of education with industrial protection. Obviously, you've heard of the Department of Education. We check off every block. Anyway, speaking of which, the first man to put in the United States the income tax, he did it for 1 year, 1861, by the way. Abraham Lincoln was elected president of these United States this day in 1860. Which was led the Southern secession and a long, bloody Civil War ended slavery. And we did not end slavery at all. There was slavery existed in the Northeast a year or two after the war was over. Delaware was one of them. It wasn't a civil war. Anyway, civil war means two parties fighting over to control the government. The South established a new government and just asked, please leave us alone. They didn't want to leave them alone. 2012, American politician Tammy Baldwin, Democrat from Wisconsin, became the first openly gay person to be elected in the U.S. Senate. By the way, you saw James Naismith, Canadian-American athlete and educator. He created basketball, was born on this day. Yeah, born on this day in Canada. 1991, Art Modell, the owner of the NFL Cleveland Browns, announced that he was moving the team to Baltimore. And they still got the Cleveland fans got a new team a couple years later. Not the same. 1984, U.S. President Ronald Reagan won re-election in a landslide victory over Walter Mondale. 1917, the second phase of the Russian Revolution of 1917 began as the Bolsheviks seized power in Russia. 1888, Benjamin Harrison of the Republican Party was elected U.S. president by the electoral majority, despite losing a popular vote by more than 90,000 to his opponent, Grover Cleveland. 1887, Walter Johnson, who had perhaps the greatest fastball in the history of the game, was born in Humboldt, Kansas. 1854, American bandmaster John Philip Sousa, who composed 136 military marches, was born. In 1661, Charles II, who ruled Spain from 1665 to 1700 and was the last monarch of the Spanish Habsburg dynasty, was born. Anyway, what happened to the people in the hospital from UPS crash? I don't know. I haven't seen any updates. I didn't look at anything. I know the last I checked was 9 dead. Let me see if I can find anything. UPS plane crash. See if there's any updates since you asked. Say 5 hours ago. Here's 3 hours ago. Let's see what U.S. UPS names 3 pilots killed in Louisville cargo plane crash that left at least 12 people dead. NTSB recovers the black box data. Feel heartbreaking, blah, blah, blah. USPS goes. Cargo plane loaded about 38, which was loaded with about 38,000 gallons of fuel and bound for Hawaii. I don't know why they didn't stop in California, like LA or something, just to refuel. crashed in nearby petroleum recycling building after disaster. The oil recycling company, 29 gallons, containing about 226,000 gallons of motor oil and 36,000 gallons of oil, water, antifreeze mix. Whew, man. Elevation was 475 when it came up, 183 knots at the time of the crash. At least 12 people dead, including 3 crew were born and a young child, and 11 others on the ground were injured. A statement from UPS. No update on anybody in a hospital from glorious people at Fox. Yeah, Kathy, I'll try to look up, see if I find anything tomorrow. But I mean, if there's a lot of people that are hurt, at least no one more is dead. They said 9 was dead yesterday. It looks like the death count hasn't. Well, 12 people are dead. Yeah, 9 was yesterday, now 12. Maybe 3 more. Maybe 3 died at the hospitals because there was 9 yesterday that happened 2 days ago. I don't know. I don't know any hospital updates. I'll keep looking for you. Maybe I'll find something tomorrow. Okay. Anyway, you guys have a great night. Get some rest. Well, unless you're in Iowa, you're still at 10 o'clock. It's almost tomorrow here. Like, subscribe, click the show notes for all the links. It's already on there for you. Have a great rest of the night and see you tomorrow. God bless and talk to you later.